So hello everyone, we are Uninformed Consent. I'm Jackie, this is Miranda, and this is Audrey. So basically we're here to present our product, and our product is a how-to guide. And that how-to guide is for bringing college students and high schoolers together in order to identify and explore a variety of perspectives about sex, which will thereby provide high schoolers with a vacation from the repressive attitudes towards sex that exist within the high school environment. So we're passing you out what we call a recipe for this how-to guide, which includes the ingredients and the instructions for how to execute it. You can take a minute to look at all the different components. If anything jumps out at you that you'd like to immediately ask about, that's totally fine, but if not, then once you're done looking, we can continue.
And the format that it is currently in is content rich for our understanding now, which will obviously be informed hopefully by the script, but a lower fidelity than we would want our ideal product.
Right.
I have a question about here. It's been a while since I've been in high school. What are the repressive attitudes towards sex that you're talking about?
So basically, I'm also, just as a preface, I'm a freshman, so I'm a lot closer to this demographic, just as a little, yeah. But basically, we are referring to the notion that oftentimes in high schools, from our experiences and from experiences of other people that we've talked to, there tends to be an attitude towards a negative connotation to the word sex or the term sex or any kind of terms that are involved with that word. So we're trying to, this how-to guide is a way to kind of start to evolve away from that. But the repressive attitudes in and of themselves are just the negative connotation that would make people, like high schoolers, feel negative towards that. And that sex is a negative kind of topic.
Or like, what are the existing formats in which high schoolers might learn about or talk about sex? And if you have an existing social dynamic in a group, and say, to be very casual about it, you were talking to someone about a sexual experience that you just had, they are operating under these preconceived notions, and they may not be fully aware of making you feel guilty about what you've done. And so an act that is not, the conception of sex isn't necessarily focused on how it makes people feel isolated and alone when they think the things that they're doing are just particular to them. But that was really what we were looking at in this particular repression. Also, the more formalized instruction regarding sex is coming from an incredibly unrelatable audience and tends to focus from the high schoolers that we particularly talked to, the presentation of information about sex is anatomical, and so it's this expectation from older generations, like your teachers or your parents, that is what is accepted about sexuality, without being treating sexuality as a more holistic, inclusive conception.
Just a quick question. So as a how-to guide, is this just the starting page and then more will follow, or this is it?
So that is primarily the absolute core of the project. Unfortunately, the format really doesn't build well for the richness of the content, and that's why we were actually really hesitant to even give it a format as we were working with a rough draft. So yes, that is essentially it.
Wait, the format is problematic, but this is all the content? Or
Yes, the
content
format is the problematic, and
so
the content
the
is
format. Is
solid.
this all the content? I think is part of what
Yes.
Mr. Slakey's asking.
Yes.
So can I? Well, actually, maybe
Do
do more of your presentation. And then
Right.
So are you saying is this the
content.
entirety of the content of product, not of culmination of project as our understanding? That was a question. Are you this is all of the information within the product. This is the product. It may not be super pretty right now, but
no one's worried about it.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of information that surrounds it, such as the content.
Finish the presentation. Let's stop talking
Yeah.
about this. What else did
Okay.
you want to do for presentation?
Great. So so normally we were going to go ahead and walk through this, but we'll go ahead and go on to the context of our product and why it is existing as it is. So to begin with, we want to talk about teen stressors in general. And so we looked up different articles talking about what exactly are stressors in teens' lives. A particular study looked at 126 individuals, and this is with a hospital group. And sex fell in a third tier of stress, right? The primary is actually family. Secondary is load of work, etc. This one is social life interactions. Sex falls within that category, as well as non-sexual relationships, boyfriends and girlfriends and friends.
Sorry, whose data was? I just didn't hear what was.
I'm sorry, it's from a hospital. Let me pull up the name. It's from Cincinnati. And I will, Palo Alto Medical Foundation. And they looked at 126 teens within their medical institute. Anyway, so moving forward from that, we can talk a little bit more about stressors, and Miranda was going to take that from there.
I'm sorry, the study said what about sex and stress?
So the study says just specifically that 9% of the 126 teens indicated that sex, or within the category of social life, was their number one stressor. That was in comparison to with homework in school, which was 55%.
So it doesn't sound like it's that bad.
By comparison to not that,
So is that
Wait,
what you're taking from that?
I'm
So
sorry, now I'm confused. I thought you said it ranked third, and now you said it was the highest.
No, it ranked